Have you ever watched the movie The Postman with Kevin Costner? It's supposed to be in the time period of 2013. People thought things would start happening around 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. But it seems like things did develop, but a lot more gradually, and in some cases drastically. But since it's not happening everywhere, we seem to just think that it'll blow over and things are just going to get better. Well, the grand solar minimum has not ended yet, and when it does, we don't know what's going to happen as it wakes back up. This movie reminded me a little bit of what's happening or what could happen, so good insight for survival tactics and things like that. So I made up a little post thing. It says, The Postman, The End of the World as We Know It movie, produced in 1997. It's showing free on Tubi TV, so if you want to see it, it's a great find. Along with Waterworld, too, that's another type of similar movie. Slightly different theme, and just fun to watch. That one's a little more uplifting, even though there's a lot of drama. So we have the Postman movie. And why is this important? In our current time, are things happening very similar? Well, right now, we have an Icelandic volcano going off along with the volcano in Hawaii, and one in New Mexico, and I think the count was like over 52 right now on land, and that's not including the ones in the ocean or under the Arctic, and other ones that are just cautionary, blowing steam or whatever. They're not included in that list. We have a pandemic, and we also have other things going on right now as well. Some food shortages. They don't seem to be, because the shelves are always look to be full, even though the shelves have been made half as deep, and the stuff is spread out, and anything that looks like it's becoming short, it's put on the end bracket or put into a markdown area, and the area is filled with twice as much as something that they have in stock. So there's a lot less choices at the store right now, or they'll take bins and they clean them out and they have it roped off as a area being cleaned. So the rest of the store, everything is piled up, and it looks like they're really busy. But it also is covering up shortages. The beginning of the movie describes a world where the power grid has gone down. Does that sound familiar? Well, in the movie, that's part of it, along with a lot of politics, angry people, civil rights, wars, all kinds of things going on. Sound familiar? Well, even watching the very beginning of the movie, if you don't watch through the whole thing, because the movie is a bit long. It's over 2 hours and 30 minutes, I believe. But once you get into the movie, it's very, very enjoyable to watch. We enjoyed it. So, as it said in the movie, racially motivated attacks, hate crimes, radical groups, civil unrest. And that's where the movie begins. Group in crisis. A lot of groups are starting to form, some of them good and somewhat fair, and then extreme groups who anybody that doesn't toe the line gets executed. And it's finding a balance between the two extremes. So some insight there if you ever had to be in a group or wait till the last minute and be forced into a group to get something to eat or survive. Makes one think about planning ahead or just waiting for things to get better, and then when they don't, maybe we can just protest the government to force them to fix things instead of doing it ourselves. There are plagues that followed. They don't go into detail, but one of them mentioned the movie was mumps, and it left several people sterile, and so males couldn't have children with their spouses or their wives. So in the movie, of course, our hero gets asked to fertilize somebody's wife, and he's kind of shocked over the whole thing. But in the end, he decides, well, maybe it's all for a good cause. Very good movie. The living hid themselves in tiny hamlets, hiding from the new madness. Of course, they show all kinds of things going on. Lion escaped from the zoo, people trying to hunt it for food. Machinery mostly not working. People riding horses. Trying to get by or taking things that were probably tossed away or destroyed during some kind of devastation, and trying to make the best out of what they had. So, gives you some insight. What would you do in that situation? Who would you be? Would you be a leader, a follower, or one that hides in the corners and just waits for whatever gets thrown your way? And then it says the earth itself fell into the insanity. So here they let you know that something was going on with the earth at the same time. Well, ta-da! We're going through the same thing. Our earth is in a grand solar minimum. People are calling it global warming because of pollution. And yes, we do have pollution, but the 52 volcanoes that are currently going off and the ones that are smoking not counted as volcanoes are rapidly exceeding any pollution that we've made in the last decade. So we're wondering, are they going to tax the volcanoes? I've heard people in comments mention that when they're watching the Icelandic volcano or one of the others, wondering if NATO is going to go over there and tax the volcano, or maybe the people who live around it. We'll see, I guess. Or maybe it'll just be ignored. We'll just go after whoever's got money. We'll tax them. And then it says the earth changes were mentioned in the movie, which they were. And the extreme weather, all kinds of events occurred. Droughts, some places didn't have any water anymore. Some got too much. So then it mentions the 3-year winter. The dirty snow never stopped falling for 3 years. It makes you wonder, what kind of snow would be dirty snow? Would that be from clouds of volcanic ash? Would it be from a nuclear strike? Could it be from any various things that could happen to us? Yeah, it's true. Nuclear winter or the volcanic ash type thing clouding the sky could make things get colder, and we could have a mini ice age. And some of the scientists are predicting that. So, with all this is going off right now, it looks like it's a possibility. Even though it was predicted before all the volcanoes started going off at once. And I noticed in the news they said with the Icelandic volcano, this is normal. And people should not be panicking over one volcano going off because thousands go off every week. Well, there is not thousands of volcanoes going off in 1 week. And I know because I've been watching them for over 2.5 years. Before the one in Hawaii went off even. So I watch people who track the volcanoes also, as well as an app. And seismic activity, because there are patterns. And things are going on. And a lot of videos and seismic activity and satellite information about hot spots in the ground before fires went off in the western states leads me to believe that they are magma induced. But people will say, oh, no, it's not. It's the Chinese, or it's lightning, or it's bad electrical lines doing that, because I got a picture of one of them because of the high charge in the atmosphere grounded out from electrical tower, which also can happen during a grand solar minimum, with a lot of the supercharged ionosphere making superstorms. But we're going to blame it on the electric company and those roots catching on fire and a tree burning from the ground up. That can't be magma. That's just got to be a wildfire. I don't know, folks. I've never heard of fires like that before now. What do you think? And then it said they saw the ocean barren, poisoned. And that meant there wasn't enough fish in the ocean anymore to feed everybody. So things are getting pretty rough. And the fish are either too deep or too sparse. And some of them were just mutated or just too darn big. So people are doing the best they can to get by. The Earth has gone through these symptoms before. This is a normal Earth cycle, a lot of this stuff. On top of the pollution and war and all the stuff we've done to the planet. So we got a double whammy. So what does one do? Prepare. Prepare for having to get by and what little you can, and protect your family. And in some cases, have enough friends so you can protect each other. And maybe we could breed caring again. Just like the Dust Bowl and a few other times in our life when things got tough after World War II, the Great Depression, people started actually going from drama and hate and demanding to starting to think about how to make things better, how to get by the best you can. Sometimes that's better. And then it said, watch the sky. 16 long years praying for the great lungs to start working again. And I think when the picture showed the rain falling on the rocks, and the rain started coming back again, that the Earth was getting back into a normal cycle, and what people were still around would be able to start and make things better and maybe learn from some of our mistakes. We hope. It doesn't always happen, but now when they see all these abandoned civilizations, they don't go, oh, well, they just died out, or they got destroyed by another civilization or whatever. Now we know that these Earth cycles had a big thing to do with some of these civilizations disappearing. or suddenly land that was above water is now in the ocean because they're finding stone buildings intact and roads and stuff laying in the ocean floor, some of them right off of California. So they're wondering, maybe even as close as the 1700s, maybe part of California broke away. It's a possibility. It said the ocean cried a sigh of relief. And it shows the rain falling finally, and people looking hopeful, people deciding that just killing and grabbing and living desperately doesn't really help. And people start working together again. And one of the things they do is put the mail service back in operation. And that's what the postman represented: hope, caring, and connection. So I really recommend you watch this movie. Even if things don't happen exactly like that, there's too many similarities. And finally, in the end, you hear some radios crackling with newscasters and voices overlapping. And radio seems to be a form of communication again. Some of it's ham radio. In some places, the radios had fallen silent for many years, but started coming back. And then finally, at the very end of the movie, they have a statue erected to the postman. And it's very heartfelt, and it's a message about humanity, and that's what will make us win, is when we care. And we are a human race instead of a color or a religion. We're humanity. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks, and have a good day.